Nerderinos, it's Nerdbeggar here. How's your day going? My day has been very good. I've had the day off from work because it's a public holiday here in Melbourne, so I've been reading a lot of comics. So it's the end of the day now. I thought I'd sit down, have a chat to you guys about some of the comics I love, some of the comics I hate, and this one is extra special because it's all manga that I got from the library. So here we go. Here's the manga that I got through today. The first one I read was Swans in Space by Lun Yamamoto. This is a really cute all-ages manga all about a young girl called Corona. She's in year 6, she's class president, she's super popular, and at home she tends to get a little bit sassy. One night, when all her family's gathering around to watch Space Patrol, a super fun space-themed TV show, she talks down to them saying it's just for kids, it's for babies, it's silly. Little does she know that a run-in with the class weirdo the next day results in her becoming an actual Space Patrol member. Yes, it's a real thing, and she's off in space training with some of the other members. The coolest thing about this is that it's a full color manga, which is really rare, I believe, in the world of manga. Every page, full color. I absolutely love the color palette as well, with Corona's teal blue hair, and the character design and outfits is just so fantastic. It has a real retro feel to it. I also really like the design of her instructor, which is a strange bear that doesn't quite do his job properly, and they're only staying with him because they don't want to hurt his feelings. And I also really like the Space Patrol cars, which are little swan boats. Oh my gosh, so fantastic. I loved every moment of this manga and cannot wait to pick up volume 2. The next manga I read is NonMaori by Ato. This is a slice of life comic all about the most isolated school in Japan. It's way out and only has 5 students. They're all at different ages and different learning levels. However, they're all in the same class because there's only really enough people for one classroom. It follows the lives of these 5 students as they go about their daily musings at school, like getting a piece of candy from your senpai, or perhaps going out to the rabbit hutch to feed them on a long weekend, only to find yourself trapped in the rabbit hutch after that pesky rabbit shut the lock. This comic is charming and light-hearted and something you want to read when you're having a terrible day, or any day at all, to be honest. It put me in a great mood. I really love the dynamic between the characters, and I really love their teacher, who is constantly falling asleep and giving them the wrong homework, taking them on field trips that nobody knew about because she didn't tell anyone. It's very funny, and I cannot wait to read volume 2, which I've already hired from the library. Next, I read volumes 2 and 3 of Happiness by Shuzo Oshimi. This is as far away from NonMaori as you could possibly get. This is a horror manga, and it needs to be read in order. It's not little snippets of horror stories in one, but one large horror story. It's all about Makoto, who's a young teenager boy going home late one night. He gets attacked by a young woman. She disappears, he can't find her, and all of a sudden he finds himself slowly turning into a vampire. Now, this isn't a sexy, Twilight vampire or Interview with the Vampire, whatever. This is a thing all on its own, and the imagery in this comic is very confronting, very shocking, and also very beautiful. The hatchwork in it, doing all the detailing of the shading is just incredible. I've stopped so many times to just stare at particular panels, and the clever use of that cross-hatching to show light or to create an image like a face out of that scribbly line work is just absolutely incredible. This comic I could not get enough of. I read it while sitting in the bathtub, got out of the bathtub, and just kept reading straight through volumes 2 and 3. Vampire stories have been told time and time again, but this feels fresh and unique, and I can't wait to get stuck into the next volume, even though I most likely won't sleep very well afterwards. Next, I read My Neighbor Seki by Temuka Moroshige. Now, this is similar to NonMaori in that it has little tiny stories in one volume, so you don't need to read them in order. I believe there's no ongoing plot. They're just little tiny tales following the antics of this young boy Seki in class. Poor Rumi Yukoi. This girl has to deal with the most annoying classmate of all time. She's trying to do her schoolwork, trying to pay attention, and yet this young kid, Seki, sits at his desk and does whatever he wants, and it's like the teacher never even notices. It drove me bananas. There were points where he was playing Japanese, I think it's checkers, and then there was another one where he put sand, and it was like a flag game where he put all this sand and then slowly carved it down, trying to make the sand not go everywhere. These antics and the fact that this kid just gets away with this, I was more annoyed than the young girl. I do love Rumi. She is my favorite in this comic, and I love that sometimes her narration goes to a whole nother level. Instead of just narrating what is happening on the decks next to her, she starts to tell her own story. So if he's playing a traditional Japanese game, perhaps there's kings and queens and all this hierarchy and all this is going on inside her head, and she's getting distracted by Seki. And I feel like Seki was the kid that I was in school that on their report card said, good student but distracts everybody else. A great manga if you're short on time. You can pick it up, read a few stories, and then come back to it at a later date. I also believe that there are animated series of both My Neighbor Seki and NonMaori, which I cannot wait to check out. I've put them on my Crunchyroll, or is it Anime Lab to watch app, so I'll get stuck into that at a later time. And finally, a manga that I really disliked, and it is called Kiss Him Not Me by Junko. Hear me out. This has won so many awards when it came out. It has its own animated series, which I haven't checked out yet, and I will watch because perhaps I'll like it more. And it's not that the comic isn't well drawn or has a captivating story of a young girl who's obsessed with boy love comics and shipping people together, and in class she's ugly and fat. That's not what I like. See, that's my point. They really highlight the fact that this girl considers herself to be overweight and undesirable, and then one day she gets so upset when one of her favorite characters in an anime passes away, dies, doesn't come to school and just stays in bed for multiple days, comes to school and all of a sudden she's transformed into a young, thin, beautiful woman, and all the boys start wanting to date her when she just wants them to love each other. That I like. I like the idea that a girl is crushing on boys, wanting them to kiss each other. That's lovely. That's a whole thing. But I do not like the concept that this girl had to be thin and beautiful for boys to give her any attention. And that is the focus of the story. It really just did not make me happy at all. But the worst part of it is I found the comic highly entertaining, and I read it from start to finish and really enjoyed reading it. So I feel very conflicted inside because I'm not happy with what this comic is about, and yet it is a very entertaining comic, and perhaps those ideas and idealisms just don't relate to me. Perhaps other people will find it entertaining more so than troubling, which is what I find it. Even the animation on the back is a little bit troubling to me. It's done all cutesy, and then it's like, you won't believe what happened next. Soon after my change, the 4 most divinely gorgeous boys in school asked me out on dates. That's everything I read today from the library. I got this massive chunk of books. Cannot wait to return them all and get even more. I'd love to know from you guys, are you a fan of any of these mangas? Can you tell me, are there animated series of the other ones that I just haven't found? Seems like most popular manga tend to have an animated series to go along with it. I hope you guys are having a great week. You can hit me up at www.nerd-burger.com, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at NerdBurgerCaz. Hit me up, let me know what you think of Kiss Him Not Me. Is it just me that finds that concept really not good? Not good at all? I'll talk to you guys later in the week, and yeah, I hope you have a good one. Bye!